Lesson 31. This week, we're going to get back to the piano every day. And that means warming up, improvising, learning a new piece, learning about staccato and legato, and reviewing pieces from Book 1 and Book 2. Don't forget that you need to do these activities every single day to become good at this, especially the improvisation warm-ups. And I'm going to show you how to do it now. But before we do that, let's review our scales. Scale fingering is always the same for the right hand as well as for the left hand. So I'm going to show you the C major scale fingering right now. Right hand. Make sure you have enough room to pass your thumb underneath. If you're too low, you won't be able to. Make sure you're playing on the tips of your fingers and not on the flats of your fingers. I'm ready to begin. My thumb plays on this part of the thumb. When I get to the third finger, my thumb passes under and I need to lift my wrist so that I can do that. Then the hand travels through. When I get back to my thumb, again I can lift up a little so that my third finger can cross over and then my thumb passes through. This is the same fingering for the D major scale. Again, slightly come up with your wrist so that you can reach your thumb under. And the G major scale has the same thing. Come up slightly so the thumb comes under. How many times should you do these scales each? 3 times each day, so that that scale becomes nice and smooth. C major scale, left hand, starts in the pinky, comes all the way up to the thumb, slight lifting up to get the third finger to come over. Did you hear how you can't even hear how the thumb moves? I'll do it again on G. When I get to my thumb, I play it, and I play the third finger on the E with the same sound. I start to bring my thumb underneath. And the D major scale, same fingering. So you would play each scale 3 times, so that would be a total of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 scales going up and down, just the way I did it. Make sure you take out that brand new practice CD, Practice CD 3, open it up and put it onto your computer, put it onto your iPad, put it onto whatever you use that you listen to, but make sure it's close to the piano because you need to use it by the piano, and you need to do at least one of these warm-ups every day. You don't have to do all 4 of them, but by the end of the week you may be able to. So I'm going to go through warm-up number 1 with you. Watch how I do this so that I can get through it all.
Improv warm-up 1 in C major, using 1 and 5/7 chords.
If you listen, immediately you hear that there's 2 pieces of instructions that the children need to hear. First, it's in C major. And also that they're going to need to know the chord tones for the 1 and the 5/7 chord. And for many of the children at this point, they're still not quite sure where T is. So here's Do, and T is found here. T, we call that a half a step away. T, they're also a little bit unclear about where the Fa is. Here's So, and here's Fa. Now this is a process, so they're beginning to know these things gradually. But here are the chord tones of a 1 chord. Do, Mi, So, and here are the chord tones of the 5/7 chord. T, Fa, So, and those are the notes they'll need to improvise. Let's continue.
Diane will sing a phrase. Echo her.
Most of the children are unwilling to echo her. They want to go right into the playing. But memory work needs to have repetition. So they're going to hear the pattern, they're going to try to repeat the pattern, they're going to hear the pattern again. So they hear it 3 times before they finally translate it to the keyboard. Eventually, they'll be able to do it straight off the bat. But in the very beginning, it's really important that they follow this 4-part process.
Then you will hear the same phrase sung and played. Echo the phrase, both singing and playing.
I'm going to do it with it so you can see how it works.
Do, mi, so, mi.
Do, mi, so, mi.
Do, mi, so, mi.
At this point, you can stop the CD so that they can figure out do, mi, so, mi. So there's 3 things that may happen. They might be spot on. They may do it slower, which means they'll need more time, or they may not get it. If they don't get it, that's fine. Move on to the next one.
Mi, so, mi, do, mi, so.
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 So, fa, ti, fa.
So, fa, ti, fa.
So, fa, ti, fa.
So, fa, ti, fa.
Fa, so, ti, so.
Fa, so, ti, so.
Fa, so, ti, so.
Fa, so, ti, so.
So, do, mi, so, do.
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 Do, mi, so, mi, do, mi, 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 do. That ends the improv warm-up 1. I wouldn't move on to number 2 until that one feels fairly comfortable. It's okay if these warm-ups take 2 or 3 weeks for some children to learn. There are some children who learn all 4 in 1 week, and there are some children who might be able to get through number 1 in 1 week. So follow your own children's pace. The new piece this week is called Us Chase the Squirrel on page 7. There are some new ideas in here, but there are also many ideas that they've seen before. The piece itself is not difficult to play. What's difficult about it is, number 1, if they haven't started following reading the notes, they're going to have trouble reading the notes. So it's very important that they are singing do, do, re, mi, so. Do, do, re, mi, re, do, do, re, mi, so. Do, do, re, do. Because that centers their ear onto the page. If they just play, I often hear them make mistakes, particularly in this area. In the left hand, they're playing a 1 chord, a 5/7, and a 1 chord. They repeat the 1 chord. This is a common problem. They don't see that it's repeated. They go to a 5/7, a 1, a 5/7, and so on. So the skills that they need to play this piece are finding E major position, and being able to play a 1 chord in E major and a 5/7 chord in E major. Now, since last year, many of their hands have grown. So last year they were playing this open 5th and then this 4/5/7 chord. But you'll find more and more that they can play the full 1 chord with the note in the middle and the 5/7. And notice here is that T again, a half a step. And in this case, it goes down to a black key. So if they're way out here, it's going to be harder. They're going to see them do this. So I asked them to go into the keys and then move their pinky over. It's hard for them to find that fa, but they have to look for that. So they need to practice this going back and forth until they can do this without having to think about it. Now I give them some practice technique, which is to play the right hand alone 3 times, play the left hand alone 3 times, play the hands together 3 times. They do that every single day. So practicing does not sound like they've gone from the beginning to the end poorly and then move on. That's not practicing. Practicing is where they actually work on this skill in the context of the music, and they're working on this skill, which is keeping their eyes on the music and playing the notes rhythmically and tonally correct. Now they have an added part, which is they need to add the staccato and legato. So this staccato is a light bounce. This is a legato where the notes are connected. I hope they have fun learning this piece. We're taking a look for a moment at the staccato and legato melodies, and we may have done these two in class where I demonstrated where to write the staccato marks and where to write a legato mark. It is mentioned here how to write legato and staccato, but then they need to practice it. So they get down to these two, and they have to really look at the instructions. It says legato. Now you see there's a dot there? That is not a staccato mark. That is part of the note value. That is a dotted quarter note. When they add a staccato, they will add a staccato above the note head. Like this. See, so this actually looks like it has two dots, and indeed it does. However, if you look at the instructions, it says that we're going to make the phrase legato, so they should not be putting dots, they should put a legato mark. Starts on a note, it ends on a note. The staccato notes go again above, like that, because the stem's going down. Then it says play the phrase. They have to look at the key signature, find the resting tone, do, discover this is so, and then read the notes and play them. It's in bass clef, so it's down in the left-hand part. I'm not going to play it because I want them to figure out what this melody is. It's a familiar melody. And the same for this one. If you notice, it says do is la, so suddenly the starting note is la, do, re, mi. I hope they spend a moment to try out these melodies. Again, they should play each phrase. Once they've done it, they're done.